Hello friends. In the past few lectures, we have been considering the different crystal structures and ways to represent a set of planes or a particular plane, a direction or a family of direction within the crystal structure. So instead of considering the crystal structure as a whole or the ways the atoms are arranged in a crystalline material as a whole, we considered what we refer to as the unit cell. So this unit cell, it represents the way in which the atoms are arranged in a crystalline material. So if we are able to construct a unit cell, and by repeating this unit cell in 3 dimensions, you will ultimately be able to reconstruct the atomic arrangements in a crystal. So therefore, depending on the atomic arrangements in a crystalline material, the unit cell or the atoms present in the unit cell or the position of the atoms within the unit cell would vary. In the previous lectures, we considered 2 features that characterizes the unit cell. One is the dimension, the longitudinal or the lengthwise dimension of the unit cell. Other is the angle between these dimensions or the angular dimensions. Now, depending on the relation between the dimensions or the lengthwise dimension and the angular dimension, we saw 2 specific unit cells, that is cubic unit cell and hexagonal unit cell. And in these unit cells, we described a set of planes and a set of direction using Miller indices or a set of 3 integers and Miller-Bravais indices, a set of 4 integers in the hexagonal closed pack structure and Miller indices just for the cubic setup. Now, this unit cell is a representation or a simple representation of the atomic arrangements in a crystalline material. Now, within this or based on this unit cell, we identified ways to represent a plane or a set of plane direction or a set of direction within the unit cell. And since unit cell or a crystal structure is nothing but, or atomic arrangement in a crystalline material is nothing but the repetition of this unit cell, by considering a family of planes, we are now in a position to describe any plane of atom in a crystalline material. So let me repeat. Instead of talking about a specific plane within the unit cell, since we have considered a family of planes, so this family of planes or the family of directions which we arrived at by considering a specific plane and a specific direction and then playing around with the frames of reference or the position of origin, we were able to show that a set of planes or a set of directions are equivalent. So this means when you have or when you consider the crystalline arrangement of a system as a whole or the atomic arrangement of a crystalline material as a whole, since this crystalline material can be described as comprising of a numerous number of unit cells, only difference is they have a different points of origin, and so therefore when you have a different points of origin and depending on the point of origin, your frame of reference would slightly be shifted. Since these unit cells have only this difference, apart from the position of the atoms vary the same, the dimensions of the unit cells remain the same, by virtue of considering the family of planes or family of directions, you will be then able to understand or describe any plane within the crystal structure. So by describing a plane or a set of planes within the unit cell, you can extrapolate that understanding to describing the any plane within a given crystal system, any direction within a given crystal system, or any plane and combination of direction within a material which is crystalline in nature. This is one advantage of understanding or describing the family of planes or family of direction. So once you are able to identify the equivalent planes and equivalent direction, you are now in a position to describe any plane or any direction, not just within the unit cell, but as a crystalline system as a whole. So you are now in a position, once you are able to understand or describe this planes and directions, you are in a position to talk about any planes and any direction within a crystalline system. Now, what is the need for understanding the plane or a direction in a crystalline system? So what does it lead to? Is one of the questions that we will be considering in this lecture. Now, so far when we talked about a crystalline system or the atomic arrangement in the crystalline system, we began by considering a unit cell, meaning a simpler representation of the crystalline arrangement, and the very definition of the unit cell, which you might be or might already be acquainted with, is that it represents a particular crystalline arrangement of atoms, and by repeating this particular unit cell or this particular representation, you would be able to establish the overall atomic arrangement in a material. So this is what describes an unit cell. Now this unit cell, if you assume a simple cubic structure, of course there are not many materials that have or that adapt this simple cubic structure, which is characterized by a unit cell that looks something like this. So a simple cubic structure in this, the atoms occupy the corners of the unit cell. So there are not many materials, or there are not very rarely any material would adapt this form of this structure. So far Sain can recollect, or the one material that I know of is polonium, that adopts this particular crystal structure under specific conditions. So this simple cubic structure, now this or the unit cell of this simple cubic structure looks something like this. Now this representation is a quasi three-dimensional representation. So the unit cell, or the way we represent the crystalline arrangement of a simple cubic structure material, or a crystalline material that adapts simple cubic structure, is by using or is through a unit cell, and this unit cell is a quasi three-dimensional setup. So this requires a three-dimensional consideration. You have your frames of references that represents a three-dimension, and in that three-dimensional frames of reference you have chosen certain points, and you have represented your unit cell. So what essentially you are doing is you are rendering a three-dimensional or quasi three-dimensional representation to the atomic arrangements in a simple cubic structure. Now since we are acquainted with, or we know how to represent a set of planes or a set of directions, and it is possible for us to understand from a given set of integers which plane this integer referred to, or which direction these set of integers refer to. There is another way for us to represent the atomic arrangements in a crystalline material. So this is possible. The other way of representing the arrangements or crystalline arrangements is possible because of our understanding or description of the set of planes and the set of direction. So the understanding or the ability to describe a plane and a direction in a unit cell allows us to represent the crystalline arrangement in a different way. So one way is the unit cell. This demands a quasi three-dimensional consideration. Let's see another way that is permissible, that is possible because of our understanding of the planes and direction. So this approach of representing the arrangement of the atoms considers a specific plane. Supposing if I assume this to be my origin, and then this plane here for the frames of reference, let us assume x, y and z. Of course there is a little bit change in frame of reference when you consider the frames of reference that we consider for calculating the components of stresses. At least for the sake of the convenience, for the sake of representation of the unit cell, let us stick to this frame of reference wherein you have your x-axis here, your y-axis here and the z-axis here. Now you have your origin at this point, and you have your x-axis here, y-axis here and the z-axis here. So meaning this would be here, so this would be prime and z prime. So the frame of reference will also be shifted. So this would be the actual frame of reference for the new origin position or new origin. So if your origin is here, the plane in the red will be, or we can represent the plane in the red by considering the intercepts that plane makes an individual principal axis. So along the x principal axis, the plane makes an intercept at minus a, and it does not make any intercept along the y-axis or along the z-axis. So it assumes that the intercept is made at infinity. So when you take the reciprocal and factorize it, you would end up representing this particular plane by -1, 0, 0, and then it would be 1 bar 0, 0, meaning we represent minus as in the top of the integer. Now this particular plane is here, it's the one that is marked in red. Now when I represent the atomic arrangement in this plane just by 2 dimensions, just in 2 dimensions, when I represent it, it would look something like this. So this is, I'm just considering the atomic arrangements within this plane here, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4 atoms, and I have represented the 4 atoms. Now the question might arise, why is the atoms touching each other here but not here? So generally, whenever we talk about the representing crystal structure within a unit cell, we assume what we refer to as the hard sphere model. We adopt or we employ what we refer to as the hard sphere model. So what this model assumes is that each atoms are a hard sphere, and these atoms, they touch each other. So therefore, in a given particular plane, they touch each other. Not in all planes, but in specific planes, these hard spheres, they touch each other. Now the reason we call this as hard sphere model, because in reality, if you could recollect your fundamental understanding of atoms, which you might have learned in some courses earlier, is that the atoms are not really hard spheres, and they have subatomic particles that prevent the complete touching of the atoms. However, for our representation sake, we assume that these atoms are hard sphere and they touch each other in a given plane and along a given direction. Even though they touch each other, we don't represent that in the unit cell, because when you plot the unit cell along with the atoms in it, it becomes quite difficult for us to access the dimension of the unit cell and also the angular dimension of the unit cell. So when you take the hard sphere model as it is and allow the atoms to touch within the unit cell, particularly for a schematic representation like that, understanding the unit cell becomes extremely difficult, and therefore we make the compromise and we avoid touching of atoms in the unit cell. However, we are moving away from unit cell to a new representation, and therefore we adopt the hard sphere model as it is and we allow the touching of atoms. Now when you consider the plane 1 bar 0, 0, and you plot the atomic arrangement, you would see that these atoms or the arrangement of the atoms in this plane look like this. Now you want to build on this arrangement of the atoms, and you want to include the next arrangement of the atoms in this plane here. So you want to include the arrangement of the atoms in this plane here, and that you want to project it, or you want to bring, or you want to present the arrangement of the atoms in the blue plane over the plane that you have already presented. So you have already presented the arrangement of the atoms in the red plane, and now you want to project, you want to build on the existing base of the red plane atoms with the blue plane atoms. So you are trying to build or add the atoms in the blue plane upon the atoms along the red plane. So that means you are trying to add towards us, that on the screen you are trying to add the atoms along the blue plane. And if you do that, so let me use the blue color, and if you do that, you will have atoms that occupy the same positions as that of the atoms in the red plane. Now since the position of the atoms can be described by its center, so we can just focus on the center and mark the position of the atoms in the blue plane with an X. So since the center of the sphere represents the position of the atoms, the position of the atoms in the blue plane is represented by the X here. So what essentially we have done is, we have restricted our focus on a particular plane. Now in addition to that particular plane, we have restricted our focus on a particular direction. So we are looking along this direction, and along this direction we are focused and we are sticking to a particular plane. And when we do that, we have represented the arrangement of the atoms by considering the plane in red in the first layer, and in the second layer we have considering the layer are building towards us, and in the second layer we have considered the atoms along the blue plane. Now from our previous description of the directions of the unit cell, So this direction would be 1. So let me write it in black. So this direction would be 1, 0, 0, or rather, so along the x-axis, this direction would be the one highlighted in blue. That this direction would be, or rather, this direction here would be 1, 0, 0, and this direction here would be 0, 1, 0, and this direction here would be 0, 0, 1. Now what we are essentially doing is, we are essentially viewing along the 1, 0, 0 direction. We are viewing in this direction, and we are focused on these two planes. So we have already seen the atomic arrangements on the red plane, and we have superimposed the atomic arrangement of the blue plane over it, and the layer is building towards us. Now as you can see, so this what we are viewing, the angle that we are, or the plane direction that we are viewing is 1, 0, 0, and this direction here would be 0, 0, 1. We have tilted it, so this direction that was along the z-axis, now since we are viewing along the 1, 0, 0 direction, it will be like this, and this direction here would be something like 0, 1, 0. So ultimately, when we are focusing on 1, 0, 0 plane and along the direction 1, 0, 0, what you would end up having is, first you will have the arrangement of the atoms along the red plane that looks something like this. The atoms are touching each other. Now we have the atoms that are along the blue plane that look something like this. So here your direction is 0, 0, 1, rather, yeah, and here your direction is 0, 1, 0. So you can think about it and you will understand that this is what the direction. Once you shift your focus or the angle of your viewing to, or align your angle of your viewing to 1, 0, 0 direction, you will end up with this setup. So this is restricted to the unit cell that we are considering. Now we can see that the atoms in the red plane and the atoms in the blue plane, they have the same, or the positions of the atom, they directly overlap with each other, and therefore you see the centers of these atoms, they align on along a straight line. In other words, the alignment of the atoms or the arrangement of the atoms in both these planes are the same. There is no shift in the position of the atoms when you consider the red plane here and the blue plane here. There is no shift in the position of the atoms, so the position or the centers of the atoms, they align with one another. Now such a representation can be described, or such an arrangement can be described by AA arrangement, meaning when you have a particular arrangement of the atoms in a particular plane, and the next layer of the atoms also overlaps the same arrangement, they overlap the same position, or the center remains the same, then what you end up having is the same arrangement of the atoms in both the plane. And since you have the identical arrangements of the atoms in both the planes, we use same letters to represent the arrangement, and that's the reason why you have AA arrangement. Now what we are essentially doing is, we are stacking the atomic arrangement or the arrangement of atoms in one plane over the other. So we have considered a family of planes, 1, 0, 0 family of planes, and we are stacking the in a particular direction of 1, 0, 0, and we are stacking the arrangement of the atoms in those family of planes along the direction 1, 0, 0. And when we do that for the simple cubic structure for the family of plane 1, 0, 0 and 1, 0, 0 direction, then you observe that the atomic arrangements in each of these planes are identical, they do not vary. And when you sequence or stack the one atoms or one plane of atoms over the other plane of atoms, when you keep on arranging it or sequencing it one after the other, you realize that the atomic positions are identical in all these family of planes along this particular direction. And this way of representing the atomic arrangement is referred to as the stacking sequence. So what we are essentially doing is, we are stacking the atoms over one over the other for a given set of planes along a particular direction. And when the atomic arrangements in these set of planes are identical, we describe them or we assign them a same name or a same letter. So we have AA, we have assigned AA because in both these layers the atomic positions are identical, and so there is not much change in the arrangement of the atoms in both these layers. So we have assigned same name to both these layers, and this way of representing the arrangement of the atoms is called as stacking sequence. So essentially what we are doing is we are arranging the atoms for a given set of planes along a given set of directions, and we are assigning a name to it depending on the positions of the atoms in these planes. When they are identical, we give them same name. So we have assigned A to the red plane of atoms and blue and also to the blue plane of atoms because we have assigned A because they are identical, and this way of representing the atomic arrangements is referred to as the stacking sequence. Now we just have 4 atoms here because we have stick with the unit cell. Now we can extend it to n number of atoms. This can be extended to n number of atoms because this is how the atoms will be arranged in a crystal structure. And since we have seen unit cell, when you repeat unit cell in all the 3 dimensional directions that is possible, in all the 3 dimensions that is possible, you would represent the overall crystalline structure. Then if you do that, and if you consider the planes or the red plane that the planes that correspond to the red plane, then you can extend this to n number of atoms, and you can superimpose or stack the blue plane of atoms over the red plane of atoms, and you would observe that both these atoms have identical positions. Their arrangements of the same, and since their arrangement and the positions are identical, we give them same name, that is A for the red plane atoms and A for the blue plane atoms. And if you keep on building it, this will continue, and you would have a same name or same letter representing each of this plane, and this way you are then describing the whole of the crystal structure, and this approach is referred to as the stacking sequence. So essentially, by focusing on a particular plane along a particular direction and stacking the atomic arrangement in those planes, you have then represented the whole of the crystal structure using the atomic arrangements in these particular planes. Now if there is any difference in the atomic arrangement between these planes, then these identical nomenclature will no longer be valid. If the position of the atoms between 2 planes, if they shift, then the identical nomenclature cannot be provided to or cannot be used to represent the arrangement or the stacking of the atoms. So let us see an example wherein there is a shift in the position of the atom when you move from one layer to another layer. So let us consider or let us see a system or a particular view wherein there is a shift from one atomic when you consider the atomic position, there is a shift in the atomic position. So let us consider such a setup or such a direction. Now in the sticking with the simple cubic structure, so we are sticking with the simple cubic structure, and so far the planes that and the direction we focused on was the 1, 0, 0 plane, and the direction was 1, 0, 0. So if you assume x axis, y axis and the z axis, we stick with to this plane. Now let us shift our focus to a different plane. So we have the simple cubic unit cell. So the atoms occupy characteristically the corners of the unit cell. Now if you consider, instead of these planes here or the faces of the unit cell, if you consider a plane which is something like this. So this plane here, this plane can be represented by the intercepts it makes. So it makes an intercept at A and A in the x and y axis, and doesn't make any intercept, or it makes an intercept at infinity along the z axis, and you take the reciprocal of it, factorize it, you end up having a family of planes that can be represented by 1, 1, 0. Now let us try to consider the stacking sequence of atoms along the 1, 1, 0 family of planes. So if you consider this plane here, unlike these 2 atoms, that is atom 1 and 2 which touch each other. Atoms 2 and 3 will not touch each other because they are diagonally positioned. These two are say linear, or these two are positioned along the two corners, and but atoms 2 and 3 are diagonally positioned. So therefore there will not be any overlap between these two atoms, or these two atoms will not be touching each other. So there will be sufficient amount of gap between these two atoms. However, the atoms that are present here, that is 2 and 4, they touch each other because they are along the corners of the unit cell, so they touch each other. So you have atom 2, atom 3, atom 4, and the atom 5 and 4 will not touch each other. However, 3 and 5 will touch each other. So this would be the representation of the plane along the family, or along the this would be the representation of the arrangement of atoms along the 1 1 0 plane. Now this would be the first plane. And if you consider the family of plane and consider other unit cell, then you have to include these two atoms here. You have to include the atoms in blue, these two atoms here. So these two atoms are positioned between 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So therefore these two atoms, the position of the atoms will be, these two will be the positions of the blue colored atoms. So you begin by considering the atoms 2, 3, 4, 5, and when you move away from it, the next sequence will be these two blue color atoms, and they occupy the position between 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. And now when you keep on building it, you will end up having a setup that is similar to that of 2, 3, 4, 5, and the other sequence or other layer of atoms will be between the 2, 3, 4, 5. So the first layer will be these 2, 3, 4, 5 atoms, and the next layer would be the atom that is highlighted or that is colored in blue. And when you keep on building it, when you keep on stacking these layers of atoms, then there will be a representation or repetition of the atoms occupying the positions 2, 3, 4, 5 and the positions that are highlighted in blue. So that what ultimately you will be having is, from one layer to the other, there is a shift in the position of the atoms. So while the initial layer you have the positions along 2, 3, 4, 5, the second layer there is a shift in the position of the atoms. And this, when you consider, just when you expand your vision or when you expand your view, and instead of focusing on just the unit cell, you consider some more, you add your focus or you include some more unit cells, then you would end up having an arrangement that looks something like this. You have your first layer and there is a gap between the atoms in the first layer along the horizontal direction or along this direction. So we will see what this direction is, but along this direction there is some gap between the atoms, but in this direction there is not much gap. So the atoms touch each other. So this would be your first layer when you consider the family of direct planes 1, 1, 0, and the next layer would be atoms that are present between these two. So these two are the atoms that are present here, they touch each other. So the atoms that are present here, they touch each other. So similarly, you will have arrangement of atoms here, arrangement of the atoms here. So this would be the positions of the atoms in the next layer when you consider the family of 1, 1, 0 plane. Now this stacking now considers two different sets of atoms, or the sets or the positions of the atoms are different in each of these layers. So in the first layer you have a definite position, and in the second layer you have a different position. Now in the third layer you will have a position that is similar to that of the first layer. So if your first layer is represented by A, then the second layer is a different one, so it can be represented by B. Now the third layer will have an atomic position similar to that of the A, so we use the same nomenclature. And the fourth layer will have an atomic position that is similar to that of the B, you have used the same nomenclature. So the stacking sequence that represents the arrangement of the atoms in the family of 1, 1, 0 planes will be AB, AB sequence. So we have considered just one crystal structure that is simple cubic, but we have considered two planes, or we have considered arrangement of atoms in two different planes. For one plane, or for one family of plane 1, 0, 0, the atomic arrangements were identical for all the planes, so it was this stacking sequence. So the atomic arrangements along the 1, 0, 0 family of planes can be represented by this way and this form of stacking sequence. However, when we shifted our focus to 1, 1, 0 family of planes, we observed that the atomic positions or the atomic arrangement also characteristically varied, and this can be represented by AB sequence. So what we have essentially done is, within the simple cubic crystal structure, we were able to find two different atomic arrangements, two different sequence of stacking. So stacking sequence is not characteristic to a particular crystal structure, but it largely varies on the direction and the plane that we consider. So in case of the 1, 0, 0 family of plane, the stacking is identical. In case of 1, 1, 0 plane, the stacking varies between a couple of planes. Between a couple of planes, there is a different stacking. Between A and A, there is a different stacking. Between B and B, there is a different stacking. Now, this direction here, if you consider the 1, 1, 0 plane or 1, 1, 0 family of plane, this direction here is 1, 1 bar 0, and this direction here is 0, 0, 1. So essentially what you are doing is, you are tilting this particular unit cell in this manner, so that your focus is largely on, or when you view, or the red plane is the atomic arrangement that is on the screen. So the red plane is what is visible directly to us. So that's the reason why you see the the z-axis, that is 0, 0, 1 direction, is along this, is pointed in along this arrow here, and 1, 1 bar 0 is pointed along this arrow here. So within the simple cubic arrangement of atoms, you have two stacking sequence, and that all depends on the family of plane that you consider and the direction of your viewing. So whenever you see a stacking sequence that is being dealt with, you have to remember that even though it is conventionally talked in terms of a specific crystal structure, it is not always the case for a given structure. When you shift the focus, or when you shift the viewing angle, or when you shift the consideration of the plane, then it is possible for us to get different stacking sequence for a given arrangement of the atoms. Now, so far we have been largely focused on simple cubic structure, and like we saw earlier, the simple cubic structure is very rarely adapted by the material that we see in the real life. So let us, for the consideration, for the sake of this understanding the stacking sequence, let us look into another crystal structure which is fairly common in the materials that we observe in the real world. So that crystal structure is again, these things you might be already familiar with. So let this be some sort of a brush up for whatever understanding you have for the different crystal structure. The crystal structure that we will be focusing on is the body centered cubic crystal. So BCC crystal structure is what we will be looking into now. Now the difference between the simple cubic and the body centered cubic is, you have an atom that is present at the dead center of the simple cubic structure. So this is just a simple cubic structure. So you would have an atom in each of the corners of the unit cell, and the one key factor that differentiates simple cubic from the body centered is the position of the atom at the dead center. And since now we are acquainted with describing the position within a unit cell using integers, so this position would be 1 by 2 comma 1 by 2 comma 1 by 2. So in this position you have an atom that is present, and this atom differentiates the simple cubic from the body centered cubic. Now let us see the stacking sequence in the body centered cubic structure. So let us begin by considering the plane that we usually consider, that is the plane here. So this plane is marked in red, that comes under the family of plane of 1 comma 0 comma 0. So if you assume this is your z-axis, this is your x-axis, and this is your y-axis, the plane that is highlighted in red will come under the family of plane 1 comma 0 comma 0. Let me darken this here so that you are not confused with the atoms and the points. So you have your atoms here, there is the body centered atom, and these are the atoms that occupy the corners of the unit cell. And now we are largely focusing on the arrangement along the red plane. So we are focused on the arrangement of atoms along the red plane. Now similar to the simple cubic, the atoms in the red plane, they touch each other. So the atoms in the red plane, they touch each other. So this is what would be the arrangement of the atoms in the red plane. However, when you move away from the red plane, you have an atom that characterizes the body centered cubic. So this atom, it characterizes the body centered cubic is present. So this atom, let me highlight in blue. So this atom here is the central atom, and when you move away from this particular plane, you have to include this atom, and this atom will occupy a position here between the 4 corner atoms. This atom occupies a position. And now when you move away to this atom or this plane here, this plane which we will highlight in green, then the positions of this plane in green is similar to that of the positions of the atoms in red. So the plane in red and plane in blue, they have the same positions of the atoms. So that means the center remains the same. So if you don't have any central atom, then the atomic sequence would be A. So this would then represent the simple cubic structure. However, since we have a central atom which is significantly moved from the positions of the red plane atoms or the base plane atoms, then you have to include the sequence of this atom here, or you have to show that the position of the atom that is between these two planes, that is red and the green plane, is different. So therefore you introduce a different nomenclature. So ultimately you would have AB sequence along the family of 1 0 0. So if you extend it beyond the unit cell, then your arrangement would be something like this. This would be your red plane atoms, and in these pockets you will be having your central atoms. So in these pockets you will be having your central atoms, or rather, and let just be like that. So this would be your central atom, and the third layer of your atom will be one that is identical to the first layer, and the fourth layer will be the one that is identical to the central atoms in the BCC structure. So ultimately, when you consider an arrangement that is based on the stacking sequence, you would represent BCC as AB, AB and AB. Now, in addition to the 1 0 0 family of planes, now since we are focusing largely on the 1 0 0 family of planes, so this direction here would be 0 0 1, and this direction here would be 0 1 0. So we are viewing in this angle, or we are viewing along this direction, and that means you are tilting your unit cell such that the 0 1 0 direction is along this way and is pointing this way, and 0 1 or 0 0 1 direction, that corresponds to the principal axis of Z, is pointing along this way. So in this orientation, or when you focus on this particular family of planes, 1 0 0 family of planes, and looking along the 1 0 0 direction, the stacking sequence of the BCC structure is AB, AB and AB. It continues forever. Now if you shift your focus from 1 0 0 family of planes to 1 1 0, like what we considered for the simple cubic structure, if we shift our focus from 100 to 110. So what we are trying to do is we have our BCC crystal structure, and here we have a central atom, and now we want to focus our attention on the 110 family of planes. So we want to focus on this plane in red. So the family of planes that we will be considering is 110. And if you want to represent the arrangement of atoms in this plane, then we have seen that while these two atoms, that is 1 and 2, touch each other, 1 and 3 will not touch each other, and 1 and 3 and 4, even though the 3 and 4 touches each other, 2 and 4 will not touch each other. However, one atom that touches all the other atoms is the central atom, that is 5. So when you want to represent the arrangement of atoms in this 110 family of planes, it would look something like this. You would have your atoms 1 and 2 that is touching each other, and touching these two, that is 1 and 2, you have your body centered atom, and 1 and 3 will not be touching each other, but the body centered and the 3 will be touching, and the body centered and the 4 will be touching. So this will be 4, and this will be, or rather this will be 3 and this will be 4, and this will be your body centered. Or maybe I will draw, yeah, so this will be your 3, 4, and this will be your body centered. Now when you move away or want to stack the other layer of atom that begins with these two atoms here, so the next layer will begin with these two atoms, the ones in blue here, so this and this one. So these two atoms occupy a position that is here and here. Pardon me, this 3 and 4 should touch each other, so it should be like this. Yeah. So you have the next layer that when you build on in the 110 family of plane, the next layer would be between the gap that is between the 1 and 3 and 2 and 4. So these atoms will occupy the gap between the diagonally positioned atoms in the 110 plane. And if you keep on building that, you will have an arrangement that looks something like this. And you would have the next layer occupying the position something like here. So ultimately, even though this is I don't know, maybe it is very difficult for you to understand the drawing here, but the principal point here is, or the principal point is, the stacking sequence in the red plane, that is 1 1, or that is, if you represented that as A, is different from the stacking sequence in the next plane. So therefore you need to have another letter representing that stacking sequence. So if the first layer is represented by A, then the next layer is represented by B. The third layer will adopt the similar arrangement that we have seen in A, so it will also be A, and the fourth layer will be adopting the same arrangement that we have seen in the second layer, so it will be B. So you will have a sequence of arrangement that is represented by AB, AB, and so on. So in both family of planes, that is 1 0 0 and 1 1 0, the stacking sequence in BCC remains the same, and it is represented by AB, AB, and so on. So between the two layers, there is a significant difference in the position of the atoms, and in order to represent this significant difference, we introduce different letters. And if you consider this plane and this plane, as you can see, there is the atoms in the blue, they occupy the position that is between the diagonally positioned atoms in the preceding layers. So this way, what we have arrived at is a stacking sequence where the two adjacent planes are not identical. The atomic arrangements in two adjacent planes are not identical, and thereby we end up with a sequence of AB, AB and so on. So in both these families of planes in the simple cubic, you have an atomic arrangement that is represented by AB, AB and so on and so forth. So this continues forever and ever. Now ultimately, this is how a possible way of representing the atomic arrangements of the atoms in a crystalline material. So apart from unit cell, we have considered now simple cubic and BCC crystal structure. By considering these two crystal structure, we have seen that when you focus on a given plane and when you consider a given direction, it is possible for us to arrive at a definite stacking arrangements of the atom, or a definite stacking sequence that represents the atomic arrangement in that crystal. For the simple cubic, we saw when you consider the 1, 0, 0 family of planes, the atomic sequence or the stacking sequence was identical. And when you consider 1, 1, 0 family of planes, between two layers of atoms, there was a significant difference in the atomic arrangement, and so you represented it by AB, AB. Now in case of BCC, while considering the family of planes of 1, 0, 0, there was a significant difference between two adjacent layers, and therefore we represented it by AB and AB and so on. Even when you consider the 1, 1, 0 plane, the same difference between, or the difference between the adjacent layers of atom continued, and therefore the stacking sequence did not change. So it is possible that within a given arrangement of atoms, by considering or varying the orientation that you look into, it is possible for us to arrive at two different stacking sequences. However, there are crystal structures wherein even while shifting the focus, or even while shifting the orientation or the plane that we are looking into, we might end up with the same arrangement of atoms between the two stacking layers. Now one key thing is that, or without digging deep into how we arrived at the different stacking sequence, I want to end this lecture with a few key points. One of the key points is that when you consider, in case of BCC, when you consider the family of planes 1, 1, 2, it has been identified that the stacking sequence in this particular plane, when you consider this plane and keep on building on it, you would end up having a stacking sequence that looks something like this: A, B, C, D, E, F, and then A, B, C, so on. So this is something interesting, that the 6 adjacent planes or 6 adjacent layer of atoms, they have their own arrangement, and after the 6th, the 7th one will repeat the first one. So this is something unique for body-centered cubic structure. In case of BCC, when you focus on this particular family of planes, then you would observe this typical behavior wherein the first 6 layers of atoms, they have, for first 6 stacks of the atoms, they have their own characteristic arrangements, and the 7th one, from the 7th one, you begin by repeating this sequence. The other thing that you might already know, that in case of FCC, when you focus on a particular sequence or the particular arrangements of the atom, in case of FCC, when you consider a family of planes that are represented by 1, 1, 1, then the sequence is A, B, C, A, B, C. So you would have, in case of FCC, the sequence that is of this type, A, B and C, and A, B and C, meaning so every 4th layer of atom would represent the first one, and the first 3 have their own characteristic positions. So therefore you would have a characteristic representation of A, B, C and A, B, C. So these are some key points I want to end this lecture with. Maybe in the beginning of the next lecture we will just refresh on our thoughts on this stacking sequence in FCC, and maybe from that we will build on. So let's see ourselves in the next lecture. Goodbye.